Good morning, everyone. John here. You are watching In the Loop Travel, and I am in Prince William Sound in Alaska, cruising with UnCruise Adventures on the ship Safari Explorer. We have a week-long cruise. This is a brand new itinerary for UnCruise, so I'm really excited to check it out. This is just the 5th trip they've done so far this season, so it's new to all the guides too, so everyone's got a sense of excitement here. This is a 36-passenger ship. 21 people are on board enjoying this voyage this week, and you can see it is a little bit rainy here. That is the forecast all week. We get more than 200 days of rain in this part of Alaska every year. So we're going to see a lot of wildlife and some icebergs and glaciers and things like that, they tell us. But this is day 2 in the morning. We got into Anchorage yesterday. That's the destination airport for this trip. And you start the trip in Whittier, Alaska. So Colleen and I had an early morning flight out of Denver straight to Anchorage, had a couple hours in Anchorage, and we joined everybody at the hospitality suite at the Hilton in Anchorage. Then you start coming toward Whittier, get on a bus with all your luggage. And the cool thing about that is about a 1 hour and 10-minute ride, and you go straight through a mountain that takes you to Whittier. It is old train tracks. There's a release for traffic every half hour, so cars and trucks can go through there. And it takes about 8 minutes to get through, going about 20 miles an hour, a 2-mile long tunnel. So we arrived in Whittier. We got on the ship, and Captain Sean took us right out almost right away as soon as we got on board. And we were cruising already toward Prince William Sound, and we had a pretty cool afternoon, early evening. We went out and saw a kittiwake colony, thousands of birds by some beautiful rushing waterfalls in the sound, and also a few majestic soaring eagles kept us company flying around the ship. We had a wonderful dinner, unpacked, and got right to bed. So here we are on day 2. I'm going to show you all of our daily activities as we go with a little talk like this. But for now, let me show you our cabin, and then I'll be back with day 2's adventures. So there's the view out my front door. This is cabin B08 on the B deck here. Have a quick look around. You've got a desk here. They provide water bottles in the cabins for you, so you can use their water bottles. We happen to bring a couple of our own as well, so we'll have plenty of options for water bottles while we're out on expeditions. And then they have all kinds of hanger space in here because you're going to have wet gear that you're going to need to hang up in the room. You see how we've organized our luggage along the wall there. You can't really fit stuff under the bed. The bed is comfortable. It is surprisingly comfy. There's there's a drawer there underneath for more storage, but you see how it's up against this wardrobe. So someone's going to have to sleep inside here. That's been me. And there's a shelf up above for, you know, organizing some stuff at night if you want to keep your phone up there or some other items. But here's a big wardrobe in there. The life jackets are there. You have the sink in the room and some more drawers and space for organizing. And then there's a heated floor, this bathroom, and a shower. So that's our cozy confines where we lay our head and sleep really well at night because you're doing all kinds of active stuff during the day. Here's a quick look at how I layer up to go out for our activities. For trips to Alaska, I recommend layers of clothing so that you are ready for all conditions. I use a base layer and wicking shirts before putting on a light rain jacket and rain pants. A light jacket is fine in summer in Alaska, and if you don't bring your own rain pants and boots, UnCruise can lend you a pair for the week. I also put on a beanie and a warmer cap and gloves depending on the conditions and activity. If you go on a skiff ride, it's colder near the glaciers and on the water. You'll be warmer when on land and hiking or out kayaking. Just a beautiful morning here, no liquid sunshine at all so far. Yesterday we had our first excursions. In the morning we took a skiff tour to the first of many, many glaciers that we are expected to see this week. We were in a place called Icy Bay. We got right up to the glacier by the sheer cliff walls on a misty, moody, overcast morning with a little bit of rain that cleared up for us, so we were pretty lucky throughout the day.
A bunch of ice being collected in a big bowl. The ice is actually overflowing and like edges of a bathtub that you filled with too much water, and it's flowing over down into the ocean.
You guys can see the different layers in the silt. See that brown trail that we left behind us?
Check out the reflections here on the water right now. No, that's perfect. I love the attention. There you go.
The afternoon it was a epic kayak tour all the way up to the face of a glacier. We saw a lot of seals, curious seals around us, and a ton of calving from the glacier, so that was really fun.
Oh, cool.
So sweet.
Wow. What's that noise we hear? Bushwacking.
This is so neat.
Let me show you a little bit more of that kayaking outing we had, especially this amazing calving event that we were able to witness. Then I'm going to show you around the ship, and we'll be back with highlights from day 2. Safari Explorer has 3 passenger decks. Decks A, B, and C from top to bottom. I'll start out at the bow on B deck. This is where cruisers gather, often to spot whales, puffins, and other wildlife. And we were out here a lot on our trip. The deck goes all the way around the ship, and it's where most passenger cabins are located. There are 2 more cabins on A deck and 2 also on C deck. From the aft here, you can see down to the marina where we gathered to get on kayaks and skiffs for our daily activities. A staircase back here heads up to A deck. This is another nice spot for viewing scenery and wildlife. Plus there are spaces to relax, with lounge chairs, a hot tub, and a seating area under the awning. The ship also features a small gym with a spin bike, rowing machine, and weights. There also are yoga mats, foam rollers, and yoga blocks available. Colleen and I enjoyed starting our days up here, with morning workouts and stretching. Through a door up here you can get to the 2 A-deck cabins and the bridge. UnCruise has an open bridge, so you can pop in here when the door is open and talk to the captain and mates to see how they're operating Safari Voyager. This is also a good spot to come up and help your guide spot whales. Then, this internal staircase takes you back down to either B deck or all the way to the lounge on C deck. This is the main public space, with a big dining room and the hotel manager's desk. You have early risers breakfast set out here, access to snacks, water, and coffee throughout the day, and things like cookies and appetizers in the late afternoon. Down the hall you'll find the log for the animal sightings during your voyage. There also is a route map that gets updated each day, and the pictures and names of your crew and fellow cruisers. The bar is open all day long, with happy hour from 5:30 to 6:30. There's a big library of DVDs that you can take to your cabin for viewing. And the library and lounge space is located behind the bar, with books, games, and the UnCruise shop, with some outdoor gear and souvenirs available for purchase. You also are invited to play the piano or guitar if you're musically inclined. Stepping out from the lounge, you reach the aft of the ship. And this is the operations space on Safari Explorer. Paddleboards and kayaks are stored here, and this is where we gather to put on life jackets and get ready for our skiff tours and other activities. There are lockers where we keep our life jackets back here. Hey there, just another day in Alaskan paradise. A beautiful morning here. We are going to be making our way toward Cordova and back to a little bit of civilization from that town on Prince William Sound. We have been almost 3 full days, almost in isolation out here on the waters and in the bays and on the islands here in the Sound. So it's been great to be so remote out here exploring on our own with our little group of 21 cruisers and 15 crew. Yesterday was a real exciting time. We did our first bushwhack. Now that is an UnCruise classic excursion. Bushwhacking is kind of like hiking, but so much more. We went ashore in the Bay of Isles to Wright Island, and this is the first time that any of the crew had been there. And often these bushwhacks are going to places that do not have any formal trails, so you sort of blaze your own path. We went ashore with Meredith and Christian, our guides, and the first thing we did was landed on the rocky shoreline, and Meredith set off to try to find a place where we could poke our heads in and start our hike, our bushwhack, try to find a route that was safe and able to navigate around and get in the temperate rainforest and have some fun and see what was in there. But first we found a nice tidal zone as soon as we landed. There were plenty of sea stars to look at. Dozens of those had been washed up during the low tide, so we were able to get a good look at that, get our feet settled and ready to hike into the forest, and then we did our bushwhacking. So that is a mix of going over and under fallen trees, through bogs, marsh-like areas that are called muskegs up there. You could even crawl underneath a tree that was still standing because it was a unique sort of tree and formation that happened there in the forest. And we were following animal trails, game trails. We saw evidence of bear, Sitka deer, sea otters, and all sorts of things. Beautiful wildflowers, sedges, grasses, crossed some streams, and eventually made our way back down. We often were going across some beautiful soft pillowy sphagnum moss, so all kinds of things to look at in these forests when you go on these bushwhacks. And it's a real adventure, so something we really love doing. Made our way back down into a little bay, and the skiff driver came and rescued us. We headed back to the ship, Safari Explorer, and again we were having an afternoon of wonderful eating, cocktail hours. There are all kinds of things you can eat on board. Beautiful meals. We have great chef on board, Brendan, and he has been making breakfast, lunch, and dinners. They put out cookies and snacks for lunch and then cocktail hour. And I've been eating desserts for lunch and dinner, which is not my normal habit, but we're having so much activity, so it's great to be able to enjoy the desserts from the pastry chef Victoria. And cocktails are whipped up every day. There's a drink of the day from our bartender Dorian, so it's been great. You really earn your food, and you have plenty of things to enjoy here on board. We were doing some scenic cruising while relocating toward Cordova yesterday afternoon. We stopped and saw a colony of puffins. There were some Bell's porpoises following alongside the ship, and we saw plenty more of the sea otters and terns, Arctic terns, and lots of stuff in the water. So it's been a great adventure so far. We're about midway through. And speaking of all that food I've been eating, there's a gym up here. There's got some good wellness activities, so I'm going to use the gym. And there's also a nice hot tub and some loungers. So you'll see me enjoying that. And then we're going to continue on with the highlights from the rest of the week. And I'll come back and tell you some more, wrap it all up. Thanks for checking out the video, but more to come. Let me tell you a little bit more about UnCruise. This is my 7th trip with the company, and we have taken voyages all over the place. They have trips in Hawaii. We've done Panama and Costa Rica, the Pacific Northwest, and of course here in Alaska. This is now my 3rd time. I always try to try their new itineraries that they have. So this one was really exciting, being here in Prince William Sound. I've never seen so many glaciers all in one place. We have passengers on board from age 16 to 80, and generally you're going to get passengers on these ships 55 and up is what you're normally going to see. And the cool thing is it's all kind of similar types of travelers who really like the experience of being outdoors. There's no Wi-Fi on board, so you sort of have a get away from it all sort of feel on these trips. You're just here for the activities, the engagement with fellow like-minded travelers, and the chance to experience places like this. These trips are all inclusive, so your drinks are included, all your food, your shore excursion. The only thing you have to pay for, of course, is your travel, your flights. They'll be offering activities every day that suit all levels of abilities or what you want to challenge yourself to do. So you can find skiff tours if that's all you want to do, medium range hikes, shorter walks along the shoreline, or really what they call hard charger, long hikes, long kayaking outings. They have a kayaking 101 if you haven't kayaked for a while or maybe never have kayaked. They'll find some places in some calm bays you can learn to do some kayaking. Sometimes there's opportunities for paddle boarding and things like that. Bushwacking, all kinds of activities. Speaking of those wonderful activities, our adventures continue in Cordova with a morning hike up a ski hill trail there in town. So we did about 5.5 miles and we got some incredible views over the marina there and into the mountains. And then later in the afternoon, Colleen and I came back to town, checked out the museum, and stopped at the craft brewery, Copper River Brewery, and had a flight of beers. So we really enjoyed that town. Then next up, we had a morning at the Columbia Glacier. We spent the morning out there looking at 3 different glacier faces, and we even got to go ashore amid an incredible ice garden. Before we got off to see Columbia Glacier, though, we spotted mountain goats scrambling in the hills of the canyon. We all gathered at the bow to watch as about 11 mountain goats, mothers and their kids, moved in the cracks of the steep cliffs. It was fascinating to see the moms show the little ones how to do it. We all held our breath as the tiny little buff-colored creatures tiptoed and slid precariously on the hillside.
And you can see the trim line up here, which is the lateral moraine where the glacier picked up rock and debris and deposited on its lateral side. So all of these glaciers are flowing out from them, while the glaciers over here are flowing from a big ice field. On a much larger scale, that's what's way out there. We passed over this morning while you're having breakfast. Much larger.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so neat.
I just saw 2 little chicks running around up there.
No kidding.
It's baby time. It's spring.
How is it over yonder?
Pretty packed in with ice.
Oh yeah. A rock.
Yeah. I'm quite excited.
Right? That's what I kept trying to, yeah, with all the striations.
The afternoon brought some kayaking. There was a short kayaking outing for some of those folks who wanted to do a short paddle. We joined a smaller group that did more than 5 miles kayaking along the shore. We saw an incredible scene with a California sea lion actually hunting and getting a salmon. So that was quite the experience to see that happen live in the wild. Tons of sea stars and all sorts of beautiful scenery along the shoreline with some little caves and nooks to go explore. Then as we wrapped up our week, it was just finishing up too quickly. I had great experiences every single day. We did some more scenic cruising, seeing whales from the boat, dolls, porpoises following along. and of course, wonderful glaciers along the way. We made a visit to a salmon hatchery in Esther Bay on Esther Island. And there we saw our first black bear sighting, saw multiple bears as we went on hikes and we toured around the salmon hatchery. You can see all the salmon in the water were attracting all sorts of animals. There were sea lions sort of feeding there on the salmon as they were in waters, just infested in the waters all around the hatchery. And is a vital part of putting salmon into the waters to help the fisheries around here and the natural wildlife as well. And there was one final day of adventures with more opportunities to do some kayaking. We went on another unique bushwhack, which was a forest moraine hike near the glacier. And that is where we were able to get up really close to the glacier, a unique thing, an advancing glacier on a forest. So that had a different look than some of the other hikes we've ever done. And we finished up the whole trip on our last day, of course, with the UnCruise Classic Polar Plunge activities.
4, 3, 2, 1.
So it was a lot of fun all week. We've seen a different side of Alaska than we've never seen before. It's quite a different feel than being in southeastern, which is where most of the people will be cruising. So you got to get up here while you can. UnCruise is the only cruise line here right now, and they also will be having new itineraries in the Aleutian Islands. They've already sold out for 2025, and there's a wait list. So look for those. Maybe get on a wait list if you can, but 2026 and beyond, that's the next itinerary that I am looking forward to, somehow being able to find some space and get on that, because that takes you out to another part of Alaska that we haven't seen yet. I hope you enjoyed following along in this video on our trip and checking out the ship and all the activities we got up to. We'll see you in the next adventure.